Hey, Mama! If you're looking to have a deeper relationship with Jesus and searching for a community of Christian moms, I'm so glad you are here. I'm a Christian wife and mom who is passionate about helping mamas finally let go of the mom guilt and learn to live loved. I want to help mamas see that they are truly and perfectly loved, even especially in motherhood. Welcome back to the Live Loved Mom podcast. I'm Cindy, your host. I'm a wife, mom, and lover of Jesus. Let's dig into God's Word together and get encouraged while we're on this journey of motherhood. Let's learn some parenting tips and mom hacks and learn how to raise our kids God's way. So, grab your coffee, listen on your drive to work, or maybe put that forgotten load of laundry back to wash again. Let's tackle mom guilt together and learn to live loved. Today, I have a special guest. Joanna Kettle is a calligraphy coach and lettering artist who helps overwhelmed moms reclaim their calm and creativity through beautiful writing. She is the host of Calligraphy Mama, a top 5% global podcast. Joanna, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today.
Thank you so much for having me, Cindy. I'm so honored, and I love the work that you're doing with mamas and serving them that way and making sure they know that they're loved and cherished. Such an honor to be here.
It's such a blessing to collaborate with other moms that are really trying to equip and encourage moms and women. I am so glad to have you here. Tell my audience, where are you from? Do you have kids? Are you married? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Joanna. I am originally from Jamaica, and I moved
Ah.
out to the States when I was 11. I have been married to my Canadian husband. That's like a whole story. For 11 years, and we have three kids and one on the way. So we're excited for our fourth because,
Yay,
four,
congratulations.
four is apparently the number of completion. So we'll see about that. I just fell in love with calligraphy. It was t totally a God thing because I went to school for engineering. I did biomedical engineering, and when I started to have kids, the the software engineering field, I kind of switched into software for a career. It was kind of stressful, and I was like, I can't maintain that with having
Mm,
kids. I didn't know what to do, and then God brought calligraphy to me. It was such a shift for me because it was like literally going from left brain to right brain.
mm,
What I love about calligraphy is that it makes that transition really easy because it's so versatile. So it seemed like the perfect art for me. I had tried to do other art styles, but it just didn't work. There was no open door. It wasn't working out. It seemed really hard. I don't think it was necessarily that I was bad at it, but I was having a hard time transitioning from left to right brain, especially during motherhood. Calligraphy was that art that really helped fit that transition, and it really helped me get closer to God in a season when I needed Him most. That's my story, and that's what I'm passionate about. And yeah,
How long were you in engineering for?
I did the regular bachelor's degree in engineering, and then I switched my career to software. I just got a job as software. So I
Mhm.
guess I worked in that for 6 years before we started having kids.
So tell us exactly what calligraphy is. Because for me, when I think of calligraphy, I think of, when you get the save the dates or wedding invitations, is that calligraphy? Is it those beautiful handwritings, like the cursive lines?
Yeah, so calligraphy is basically the art of beautiful handwriting. Everything that encapsulates beautiful handwriting can be considered calligraphy. Even cursive, to a point, can be considered calligraphy. It's actually a really big field, but a lot of people only see the save the dates. You only
Right.
see one or two styles. There's a whole world of different styles that you can learn from
Oh, wow.
and different things that you could gravitate towards. For example, and if you like medieval like writing, you can
Hmm.
learn that. That's a form of calligraphy. That
Ah.
there are certain medieval styles, and some people, the more history buff types, gravitate towards like what area, what year in history they like, what century, and then they'll
Hmm.
like find the styles in that and learn that. It's amazing that it's accessible to learn that in this time period. That question is especially, you know, important to me because I actually didn't know what calligraphy was at all.
Mhm.
Like I never heard the word calligraphy until motherhood. And
Wow.
I saw a few things, but it didn't give me a good explanation of what it was. I thought it was just like, use this fancy pen and you just
Mhm.
write some strokes. But it's a lot more than that, and it's a lot simpler than it looks.
Tell us a little bit more about calligraphy. Do I need to be an artist? Do I need to have the perfect penmanship to
Uh,
be able to learn calligraphy? Or is it something that anyone can pick up and learn?
Anyone can really learn this art. That's what I love about calligraphy. You don't need to have perfect penmanship and handwriting. Calligraphy is really drawing letters. So you're not writing, you're not doing the same movement as cursive. It's a totally different movement. It's more like you're drawing the strokes. It's kind of like paintings. Think of those Chinese paintings where you're just drawing one stroke. You're literally just drawing one stroke with this pen, and then you're adding it to other strokes. So you're really thinking of doing calligraphy from the stroke level, not from the letter level. Anyone with bad handwriting can do it, and you definitely don't need to be an artist to do it because I wasn't an artist and I picked it up pretty fast. I always get asked a handwriting question a lot. There's a lot of videos online of calligraphers showing their handwriting versus their calligraphy. Some of them can't even do cursive.
Wow,
They just
really?
can write script, but
That's interesting.
they can do beautiful calligraphy because like I said, it's done in a different movement, in a different way. And once you get that movement down, you can write beautiful letters.
So, how long would you say it took you to learn calligraphy?
That's a good question. It depends on what type of calligraphy you decide to pick up. So the
Okay.
two main types that I teach are modern and traditional. Traditional is basically anything that's historic based.
Mhm.
So you go through what century you like, or you go through, you might see like American historic handwriting. You might think that's beautiful, so you learn
Right.
that based on historic construction. Modern is pretty much anything that's very recent. You can almost make up your own calligraphy words with modern. So
Mhm.
the styles that you see in Hobby Lobby are all modern. They usually don't do
Okay.
the traditional styles in stores. But like for example, if you think of like Coca-Cola logo or
Mhm.
Ford's logo, that's
Right.
based on traditional American calligraphy.
Okay.
So so I would say modern calligraphy is technically is usually quicker for people
Hmm.
because I guess you could say there's slightly less order and rules that you kind of have to follow. Whereas
Okay.
traditional calligraphy, you're literally learning the same way that people used to learn historically. So there's
Right.
a little bit more involved in technique. So it usually takes, if you were going at it maybe 6 months
Hmm.
or to a year, and then like you can learn a lot of people learn modern calligraphy within 3 months.
Okay.
Depend on the style. I've done both, and both are beautiful journeys to take. And in the calligraphy world, we often recommend that people learn traditional first because it sets you up with a good foundation. It's easier to switch to modern if you want to do that afterwards. I can always tell when a calligrapher, has some traditional foundations, even if they do modern all the time, because
Mhm.
their modern always looks so much better. It
Yeah.
looks so much more beautiful. So you can switch between the two and just enjoy the fun journey of writing beautiful letters.
Why would you say calligraphy would be a good fit for moms? Is this something that moms should look into doing, and why would that be important?
That's an awesome question. I'm totally passionate about calligraphy for moms because a lot of people don't consider it. It's a lost art and not very popular. People usually do watercolor or drawing because that's
Mhm.
what they've probably done in high school or growing up or what they're used to doing. But I have a few reasons why moms should consider calligraphy. The first one is that moms are already doing a lot with words. We're telling our kids the same words over and over again. We're writing our child's name on everything so they don't lose things.
Right.
We're using words to uplift ourselves. So this the subject of words is already really approachable and relatable to us because we're using
Mhm.
words so constantly. So I just
Right.
love that there's less decision fatigue on the subject that we're making
Ooh,
beautiful
I love
because
that. Because as
yeah,
moms, we have so many decisions to make. So yes, I love that.
exactly. I tried drawing. It's like, what do you draw, right?
Mhm.
I've seen moms that have a specific thing they like to draw, but you can always draw so many things. It's just too much. Whereas you can think, I need an uplifting word today. Let me write it beautifully. Let me
Yeah.
learn how to write that word. And then the gift of being able to bless other moms with words that are meaningful to them is such like a, impactful gift. I had a friend who just handwrote a very timely verse for me, and I always have it on my wall because
Oh,
it
I
was
love
so
that.
impactful and so timely. It was like God was saying that to me at the right moment. So just being able to bless someone with words that were already approachable and
Mhm.
that's already and relatable to us, and less decision fatigue. It just makes it so much easier. The other reason is it's good for just writing down things. It's good for reducing overwhelm, good for giving our mind a break. Another thing I learned in motherhood is you don't want to keep all these things in your head.
Right.
Right? I don't know if even anyone ever made that mistake of trying to manage everything in your head and not writing it down. Just
Yeah.
writing down, even if you're having negative thoughts and seeing how silly they look when you actually put it on paper, it's so helpful and healing to write things down and
Yeah.
get that out of your head, even to get beautiful thoughts out of your head too.
Mhm.
So just the healing act of writing, there's scientific benefits of you getting that hand to paper, that hand to head, motion on a regular basis is also just really good for your mental capacity and memory. Memory usually skyrockets, especially being pregnant, having pregnancy brain. Yeah.
I know. I feel like once you're a mom, it's like your brain's just not as sharp. But yeah, so I love that idea of being able to use it to dump stuff on paper, right? I love that. And then I think you had told me you could also use this as part of your morning routine or your devotional time. How would someone do that?
You could do this really easily. Like, let's say God give you a year, a word for the year. You just write that
Mm,
down on your paper, really beautiful. One word. You don't have to spend a lot of time on it. Just a word. When you do calligraphy, do it slowly. That's one of the things teachers will always tell you. This is not fast writing. You are
mm,
drawing every stroke. So
wow.
you really get to meditate and focus on that word you're writing. And then in your journal, like when you wake up and read the Bible, I have one of those beautiful journal Bibles. Actually, I just got it not too long ago. But yeah, if God highlights a word to me, I can write that down. I can simply take 5 minutes to write that word down, maybe multiple times for practice or just to meditate on it.
Right.
Literally just a word. You don't have to write a whole paragraph. You don't have to make a whole piece. You can just add beauty to a word that God's trying to recall or give you revelation through. That's what I like. It's this very small act of adding beauty to meaningful words and godly words. So I would highly recommend if you have a journal, write the words in calligraphy that God's putting on your heart. Just the one words. You don't have to spend a lot of time. You don't
Mm.
have to write every whole verse. If you're writing it really slowly like you should be, that would take some time. But if you have 20-minute devotions, you can write those few words and then they will be highlighted and just be, in beauty when
Yeah.
so they'll be more easier to recall.
And it also sounds that, especially since you have to take your time and do it slowly, it sounds like it would help us moms to really be still. Because a lot of times we don't take time to be still. We are trying to get through the day, to all the routines, to all the to-dos. If you are doing calligraphy, you're going to have to sit still and actually take your time with it. And I think that could be so helpful for us. One of the things that I've encountered is that sometimes we ask the Lord for like answer to our prayer, but we don't take the time to sit still and listen. So I think it's a good practice to be able to just sit still and write a word that, the Lord has given you, or write a word that stood out to you as you were reading your Bible. I love that idea. Thank you for sharing that. I guess one more question, and I'll have you share your testimony. You have about to be 4 kids. How do you make time for calligraphy with the responsibilities that you have?
Yeah, that's a really good question. When my kids were young, I did the thing. where, they're babies, like under 3. I did the thing where you nap when your kids nap. When your kids are up, then you do stuff. That is not always the easiest thing to do because you're washing dishes and watching kids at the same time. But it really helps when your kids take that nap time, your rest time can be doing calligraphy because it's such a restful activity. It's not very stimulating for your brain. Like I said, it's slow and focused. Taking advantage of those nap times in the beginning were really were really meaningful for me. The other way is I have a very supportive husband.
Mm.
I do have an episode about this. Like, how do you work together with your husband to help you get that creative time in? A lot of moms have a very strong creative need. It's really self-care for them. It helps them be more gentle with the kids, be more
Mhm.
calm, just be more happy in general. And, I have a lot of my moms tell me this, and I just went to a calligraphy conference and moms were also telling me this, like moms with 3, 4 kids, and they're like, I really need that creative time. I really need that creative space. And you communicate that to your husband, and then you help make plans. You don't leave him in the dark and say, just take the kids. You help organize a plan for him so he can just follow it and make things go a lot smoother and be good about communicating like this is when this is going to happen, this is how long I'm going to take. Don't go overboard. You have to
Yeah.
respect time. I know that's hard. It's always hard for me to stop once I start doing calligraphy. So I had to learn to stop. That's definitely a big way that, having a supportive husband. And I feel like most men are understanding of having that time too because they're better at having that time than women are.
I think so too. I agree. A lot of times, us as moms, I think we have to do all the things and put ourselves last, right? So it's
Yeah.
like having fun or having that creative outlet is to us is not really a priority when it should be because you can't pour from an empty cup. We have to fill our cup so that we can better pour into our families and pour into our, household. So I love the idea of doing calligraphy and just being still and having that creative outlet. Thank you so much, Joanna. This was such a great conversation. I always ask my guests when they come on the podcast to share their testimony because truly in Revelation it says that the power of the blood of Jesus and our testimony is what will defeat Satan. So I would love to hear how you came to know the Lord and how you became a Christian. How has the Lord changed your life?
Yeah, thank you for asking me to share that. I agree. I am a huge testimonies fan because I feel like testimonies really feed your faith and your
Mhm.
soul, and it just makes
Yeah.
you grow. I was fortunate to grow up in a family that brought me to church at an early age, and I've been a Christian since I was 5. So young age, I remember praying when I was young. Not always perfect, but praying in a
Nobody is,
child,
so yeah.
praying in a childlike way and getting baptized at 10. I feel like the faith really solidified for me when I was 11 and we were in a hard financial place. We were sleeping on mattresses. It was a mix of bad situations. Like, oh, sometimes life throws you like a storm where like everything goes bad
Yeah.
at once. But like during that hard season, like I really felt God's presence like
Mm.
very strongly. I was 11 or 12. He was there. I just felt so strongly. And I just remember he provided for us too, like everything. Bad situation, but everything was provided for.
Wow.
We also found this church where I was mentored, and I remember feeling the presence of God very strongly at that church when people were worshiping. I had a pastor that was all about worship and showed me how to do that. That season solidified my faith of experiencing and feeling God. I'm very passionate about that today, helping people experience and feel God instead of just focusing on words, being like, let me pray that you feel the presence of God, that you feel how
Yeah.
much He loves you. And I was going to briefly share, like, for me, the calligraphy story too. It was also in a hard season of postpartum. One of my oldest was going to the hospital with him. Yeah, like pretty constant. Like they didn't know what was wrong with him. I was getting no sleep because my other child had digestive problems. That was when God, was like, okay, here's calligraphy. Like, a calligraphy video just randomly pop up, and I didn't know what calligraphy was. I just knew I liked beautiful. letters.
Yeah.
And then my husband was like, you should really watch that video. Because I was kind of ignoring it because, mom, I'm focused on all my kids.
Right.
And yeah, and then I actually watched that video and totally fell in love with calligraphy and had a vision of me doing calligraphy in heaven. Like it felt like this is what I was meant to do, like eternally, writing the beautiful words of God, just like
Yeah.
writing the words that he spoke. And that's that, and you can see my whole calligraphy journey on Instagram. I definitely started just writing all of the words that God gave me. And then yeah, he opened the doors to a Christian, like master calligrapher who lived 15 minutes down the road from me. Like, what a chance.
Wow.
Yeah. And I worked with her for a bit and everything was hard at first because you're like, well, I have two kids I need to take care of. Why am I taking private lessons? But God just literally opened the door to do that,
Oh, praise God. Oh my goodness. That's
So,
beautiful. And now you get to teach other mamas and other women calligraphy and that beautiful artistic way of displaying words. And that's so beautiful. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. You said that they can find you on Instagram. Do you want to share your Instagram? I'll also put it in the show notes as well.
yeah, Instagram is Wild Plains, so that's Plains calligraphy. And then I do have a podcast and it's Calligraphy Mama. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love you if you hop on there and see all the beautiful calligraphy work on my Instagram.
Then you have a course that you're launching soon, right? Have you
Oh
launched it yet?
yes, thank you for that. No, I just opened the wait list for my course. It's the Calligraphy Mama method. I'm trying to make it a lot easier for these moms than it was for me. You don't have
Yeah,
to go out and go to private lessons. You can just do it in your home and have do lessons 10 minutes a day. If you just have 10 minutes, you can learn calligraphy. So that's
I
my
love
goal.
that.
Yeah, that's my goal for moms. It'll be a live group teaching, so you get the accountability of other moms and the
Yeah.
energy of being in a class while being at home. I'm excited for that. I'm guessing you'll put it in the show notes, just the
Yes,
link.
I will definitely put in the show notes. You guys be sure to check it out. Joanna, I love this connection and I hope you mamas go and check her out because her podcast is beautiful. The art of calligraphy is beautiful. Even if you're not a creative person, this
Yep.
is something you can pick up and actually learn and enjoy. So that's an outlet for you just to fill your cup. So I
Mhm.
love that.
Yep.
Thank you
Yes.
so much, Joanna. Anything else that you want to share with the audience that maybe I didn't ask?
Oh, yeah, no, just what Cindy said. Definitely try it out, even if you're not creative or have never done any creative things. There's calligraphy for everyone. I highly encourage you to look into it and to try it out.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Such
thank
a
you for
good
having me on.
conversation. My
Yeah.
pleasure. Thank you for listening to today's episode. I pray that it has blessed you in some way. If you found value in this episode or you know a mama who could use some encouragement, please be sure to share the episode with them. Would you take just a few minutes to leave a review on Apple Podcasts? It would mean a great deal to me if you could let me know what you thought of the episode. Be sure to follow us at Live Love Mom Podcast on Instagram. And if you haven't already, come join us in our free Live Love Mom community on Facebook. Let's mom alongside each other and continue to learn to live loved.